Hi friends, welcome again to my YouTube channel. So in today's video I'll be doing a summary of chapters 10 and 11 of Second Class Citizen. Of course, that will leave us with just two more chapters, chapter 12 and 13, which I will be doing today, and it will drop today, so look out for it. So chapter 10 is titled Applying the Rules. Remember, there are certain rules, three major rules I pointed out that Ada had learned in chapter 9. So in chapter 10 it is titled Applying the Rule. In chapter 10, the narrator tells us that Francis is left with no other option than to get a job. Francis works for 2 weeks as a postman. This is largely due to the fact that Ada is recuperating from the operation she underwent in order to have Bubu, their third child. So Francis is left with no other option than to find a way to fend for the family because Ada is not earning. We also need to understand by the narrator that every time Francis comes back from work, he's always complaining. He complains of how it is difficult to carry the bag of gifts, drop the gifts, drop the gifts, where they are supposed to drop it. He's always complaining of one thing or the other. As part of the rules that Ada had learned to be indifferent about Francis's complaint. So while Francis complains, Ada just merely listens, but it doesn't register in her mind. So very close to Christmas, Mrs. Conrad, the chief librarian at the North Finchley Library, where Ada had just stopped working, sends gifts to the 3 children, for Christmas. We're also told that before Christmas, that's like a day to Christmas, Ada observes that the right ear of Vicky is bigger than the left. Then on Christmas Day, she observes that the ear even gets even bigger. She calls Francis's attention to it. Francis calls the doctor. The Indian doctor says he will not be able to come because it is Christmas Day. Francis involves the police. At the end of the day, a Chinese doctor comes, and in his diagnosis, he says that Vicky has been bitten by a bed bug, and then he makes an unorthodox suggestion of how they could get rid of the bed bug. Alright, so chapter 11 is titled Population Control. The narrator tells us that Ada goes to the public bath because they don't have a bathroom in the property they occupy. We're also told that Ada has decided to do family planning, and that is because she's just 20 years old and she already has 3 children, of which the 3rd child, Bubu, almost takes her life. She tells Francis about this, but he disagrees with her. But she is determined to go ahead with the family planning because she doesn't want to lose her life and by extension make her children to be brought up by another woman. Alright, so she goes to the hospital, where in the hospital she is told that she has 3 options. The option of taking a pill, the option of them inserting a jelly into her which will melt before she can have sexual intercourse, and then she also had a 3rd option of wearing a cap, a female cap. Alright, so she's expected to get the signature of her husband before she can be able to do the family planning. So Ada at this point wonders why a woman cannot have control over her own will, why her husband has to be the one, why the system is structured in such a way that the man has to dictate for the woman with regards to things that borders on the woman's personal will. Alright, so Ada, knowing fully well that Francis will not be able to sign the papers, forges Francis's signature. So she goes for the cap. She fits in the cap on one night, but somehow Francis discovers that she is wearing a cap. Francis is upset and beats her up. Francis beats her up to the extent that she bleeds from her mouth. It takes the intervention of Panobo, the landlord of the property they occupy, to save Ada from Francis's beating. We also made to understand by the narrator in chapter 11 that Ada gets a job in another library called Chalk Farm Library. Alright, so that brings us to the end of the summary for chapters 10 and 11. So I'll be asking a couple of questions and answering them as well that will help us to have a better understanding of the main events that happened in these two chapters. Alright, so I'll be attending to the following questions. Number one, why was Ada happy to tell people that her husband was a Jehovah's Witness? The reason she was happy to tell people that her husband was a Jehovah's Witness was because there was no money to buy gifts for the children during Christmas, and she was feeling too embarrassed to admit to this, especially to the landlord's wife, Mrs. Noble. Number two, what were the two things that Pa Noble told Ada is worshipped in England? The two things worshipped in England, according to Pa Noble, include the following. Number one, Christmas. Number two, holidays. So thank you very much for your time. I hope you found this video very useful. If you like the video, give the video a thumbs up. If this is your first time, please subscribe and share with your friends, especially those who are going to be writing WAEC and German. I will see you in the next video.